summarize. We spoke about when he removes a box. So Chizkiah and Abaya say, according to the conclusion of the Gemara, that if a complete object was removed from Rishus HaYachid, although the box with other objects were still in Rishus HaYachid, is chayiv because the complete object was removed. Rabbi Yochanan and Rava say no, a keli is one entity, and if part of it was still inside, then he's potter. Then we have an opposite machlokes between Abaye and Rava about a hand. If one sticks his hand out with an object from Rishus HaYachid, so if he's lifting it in the air, then obviously he's potter, as the Mishnah clearly says, because the hand is not resting. The object isn't resting. The hand alone is not a resting place since the body is still inside. It's not a settled place. However, if he put his hand down close to the ground within 3 tefachim, so it's considered on the ground, it's considered resting, but he could pull it in. Says Abaye, since he could pull it in, you're potter. Rava says, no, it's outside, you're chayiv. Then we spoke about how you're carrying an object. That only if you carry your object in a normal form, then you're chayiv. What's normal? Right hand, left hand, under your arm. It's all normal. On your shoulders is not normal, but in the Mishkan they did it. Since in the Mishkan they did it, that's the way the Bnei used to carry it. Therefore you're chayiv. Then other abnormal forms on the back of your hand, on your foot, in your elbow, in an upside down pouch between your pouch and your clothing, in your cuff, in your shoe. Since it's not a normal way of removing something, you're potter. Now, since we learned out of Bnei Kahas, the Gemara mentions a different thing we learned out of Bnei Kahas. That although higher than 10 tefachim is considered a mokim b'tur regarding if you throw something in Rosh Hashanah, but if you're walking with something higher than 10 tefachim, you're still chayiv. Why? Because you fit it on the ground. But where do we know that from? From Bnei Kahas. Bnei Kahas have carried objects that the bottom was higher than 10 tefachim from the ground. Where do we see that? So we thought to prove it from the Mizbeach, which was 10 amas high, but a third was above their shoulders. That's the rule. We say that any object, a third is above their shoulders and 2/3 are below. And the Leviim, we thought to learn from Moshe that just like Moshe was 10 amas high, and therefore he put the covering on the Mishkan, so too they were 10 amas high, and therefore they're so high that a third of the Mizbeach, which was above their shoulders, that's a third of 10 amas, and it's a third of their height as well, that was higher than the ground, a third of 10 amas, which is much more than 10 tefachim. Each amas is 6 tefachim. So therefore, therefore we see that although they carried it higher than 10 tefachim, they're still chayiv. But then the Gemara says, Lav davke all Levim were 10 amas, only Moshe. Moshe had to have the Shechina resting on him, he had to be a balkoim, he had to have a proper height. So therefore we prove from the Aron was totally 10 tefachim high, and they carried it on their shoulders. So 3.33 whatever was above their shoulders, and 6.66 was below their shoulders, and that was much higher than 10 tefachim from the ground, and they're still high. Then there was something which Rav said the name of Reb Chia about a minig of a specific place, which is unusual for other places. So first the recording was that Rav said the name of Reb Chia that, let's say Hutzel they carry on their head, it's normal for them, so anybody who does it in the whole world is chayv. It can't be. Just one town. Okay, so if they do it, they're chayv. Can't either be. Everyone else doesn't do it. So the conclusion was that since most of the world does not carry it on their head, then even people of that place are also potter. Tzlucha.